UFC 298 is finished. It is all wrapped up, and there's a lot of things that I want to discuss with you guys. There's a lot of fighters that I want to discuss, and there's a lot of fights that I want to break down. And I do also want to talk about my thoughts on the new UFC 300 main event announcement, my early prediction, and yeah, that's about it. So I'm not going to leave you guys waiting any longer. Let's just get right into it. The first thing I want to discuss is the fight between Merab Dvalishvili and Henry Cejudo, because Merab, his cardio is absolutely insane, man. It's just simply nothing than I've ever seen before. And there are even pictures of Sean O'Malley in the stands being so shocked by it. I mean, Sean's definitely going to be ducking Henry after this fight. I mean, that was just absolutely dominant after the first round. I mean, Triple C has some crazy wrestler cardio, and Merab made his cardio look like it's the worst out there. I mean, there's just nothing, and there's no fighter in this game that can compare to Merab Dvalishvili's fight style. And I think he's going to beat everyone in his path. And I think he destroys Sean O'Malley, destroys Corey Sandhagen, destroys Chito Vera, literally anyone in that top five. I think he beats all of them. And for Henry Cejudo, I just think it might be time for him to wrap it up. To be real honest with you, Henry Cejudo, your career's been great, but I do think that this fight is a sign that it should be all over for you. You've accomplished so much in this sport, and I don't understand all the hate that he's getting. All right, I don't understand why people are giving him so much hate recently, because he's accomplished so much in this sport, and I think he is truly a great fighter, but I think it might be time to hang it up. I want to discuss every fight on the main card, and the next one up is Roman Kopylov, who took on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I talked a lot on Roman Kopylov in my last video. I was talking about how you got to hammer the money line. He's way too much of an underdog. He should be the favorite. He's the best striker in the middleweight division. I said some absolutely crazy things that just did not hold up in this fight. Roman Kopylov got straight up worked. He got straight up worked by Anthony Hernandez. And I doubted him, man. I doubted Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I think he has potential to be one of the best fighters in the division. Maybe we could see him challenge for a belt one day, or like a number one contender spot, because wow, was this fight extremely impressive. But Roman Kopylov, man, I'm very disappointed. He'll be back. He'll be back. He's got some great striking, but if he wants to really succeed and become a UFC champion, he has got to work on that grappling, because it was very, very underwhelming. The next fight I want to talk about is Ian Machado Gary taking on Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. This fight was absolutely very underwhelming. This fight was absolutely not as good as I thought it was going to be. Not a lot really happened. Ian Gary kind of just bounced around and kind of just controlled him at range. I mean, it's kind of what we all thought was going to happen, but I just don't think Ian Gary has that championship type of fight style, type of mentality, you know. I mean, he did not put on any crazy performance by any means in this fight. He did get the job done. I scored at 29-28 for him, but he did not put on any crazy performance in this fight or in his fight before that against Neil Magny. Couldn't even finish old man Neil Magny. Couldn't even do really anything against Jeff Neal. I just don't think that Ian Machado Gary is a fighter who's going to become champion one day. I just don't think he's ever going to hold the belt. He was very disappointing in this fight, and he won the fight, but it was just not at all what I was expecting. And Jeff Neal, you did not do anything crazy either. I kind of knew that you were going to have to find the knockout blow if you wanted to get the job done. I kind of knew that Ian Gary was going to just kind of bounce around you like that and, you know, destroy your leg like he does to everyone else and just kind of pick you apart, which is what he did, and you just weren't able to close the distance enough times. I do think you won one of those rounds, and debatably also won round 1 and round 2, so I guess I could see a world where you did win the fight. One of the judges did, but I just don't think you did enough. You couldn't find that big punch, and you know, that's just kind of what you needed against Ian. The second to last fight I want to discuss is Paulo Costa taking on Robert Whittaker in the co-main event. This fight was absolutely awesome. This fight had me on the edge of my seat the entire time, the whole 15 minutes. This fight was great. It was all stand-up. Paulo Costa landed a crazy spinning heel kick right on the side of the temple. You couldn't draw it up any better. Just couldn't draw it up any better. It was perfect. It was the biggest moment of the card. Straight up, it was the biggest moment of the card. Didn't finish Robert Whittaker, but it was the biggest moment of the card. All right, this fight was crazy. And it would have won Fight of the Night if Mackenzie Dern didn't fight Amanda Lemos. But Mackenzie Dern is just literally as tough as they come. So they won Fight of the Night, which is completely deserved. That fight was awesome. But Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa still had an excellent fight. Robert Whittaker recovered perfectly from that spinning heel kick and dominated him in the second and third round. This fight was so fun to watch, and it was a great co-main event. Robert Whittaker came back with a vengeance after his last loss, and Paulo Costa was extremely underwhelming. But the last fight I want to talk about, the main event, and I told you so. I told you so from the start. I knew this was coming. Perfect prediction from Jackson Holpuck. You're going to see a lot more of these in the future on this channel. But exactly how I called it, exactly how I drew it up. I told you. I told you it was coming. I could feel it. It just felt like McGregor-Aldo all over again. It felt like McGregor-Aldo all over again. The dominating, reigning, defending champ, GOAT of his division, debatably, takes on an undefeated rising young contender who's cocky and confident, and that's exactly what Ilia Topuria was, putting 15-0 UFC champion in his Instagram bio weeks before the fight even started. All right, Ilia Topuria, exactly how you drew it up, exactly how you called it, and I think you have a star in the frickin' making, man. You have a star in the making. And he copied McGregor's back tattoo. That's pretty crazy. That is a little too much in my opinion, but dude, you have a straight up star in the making, man. Ilia Topuria, heaviest hands in the featherweight division. I want to see him. I mean, I guess he did beat up Josh Emmett when they fought, right? 50-42 is diabolical, right? But dude, he might be a harder hitter than Josh Emmett. Seriously, might be a harder hitter than Josh Emmett. I mean, that was insane. That was absolutely insane. Volk, your career is done. Volk, your career is done. It happens to the best of them. All right, and it sucks. It sucks to say, but it happens to every great athlete. They fall off. All right, Volk, he's fallen off. He's fallen from grace. Shouldn't have gone chasing Islam right like that. It screwed you over, and you're just not the same fighter anymore. Your career is over. Out with the old, in with the new. What a great passing of the torch moment. And I told you. Finally, what I've been absolutely dying to talk about, the UFC 300 main event is here. Alex Pereira and Jamahal Hill. Am I the only one who's so disappointed with this fight? Jamahal Hill? You wait months and months for the main event to be announced, and it's Jamahal Hill, who said he wasn't even going to be back until late July because he tore his Achilles, is coming back in April? Maybe even be March. I don't even know when the card is. I think it's in April. That's insane. That is insanely terrible. I was expecting like Habib or something, all right? But it wasn't. I was expecting like a 30-0. Oh, UFC 300, 30-0 or something, and then it would be Habib. That would have been awesome. Could have done Pereira moving up to heavyweight. Pereira and Aspinall is a way better fight than this. I guess it's not terrible. On paper, it's not terrible. It's just like Jamahal Hill, like that's not the dude that I wanted to main event UFC 300, right? It's still going to be a good fight. It's probably going to stay on the feet. You know, I do think that Pereira makes Jamahal Hill wrestle, but it's still going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a battle on the feet until Pereira makes Jamahal Hill wrestle. But yeah, my final prediction, or it's not my final prediction. It might change, whatever might happen. My early prediction for this fight was Alex Pereira by second or third round knockout. Second or third round knockout because I think Jamal Hill is going to get pieced. He's going to be coming off that Achilles injury way too soon, by the way. Way too soon. You said you were going to come back late July. You're coming back in April. All right? You're just way too soon to be coming back from an Achilles tear like that. And Alex Pereira is just like an unstoppable force right now, in my opinion. He just looks like a straight-up unstoppable force, right? And I think that he's going to really piece up Jamal Hill, and I think he's going to have him shooting takedowns at the end of the second round. He's going to have him shooting takedowns in the second. Everyone says they want to strike with Pereira. Everyone says that they're going to strike with Pereira. No one does. In the first fight with Izzy and Pereira, Izzy was taking him down, right? In Pereira's fight with Jan Blachowicz, the first frickin' 10 seconds he shot a takedown. Yuri and Pereira, Yuri was shooting takedowns. That's how Yuri got knocked out, was when he was shooting in for a takedown, right? Jamal Hill's going to be wrestling him up. Pereira's going to piece him up. Pereira's going to maul him on the feet. Probably going to knock him out in the second. Maybe the third. I don't think it goes past. I don't think it sees the championship rounds. I don't think so. I think Pereira's going to look good and still coming soon for UFC 300.